welcome to Used Bike Heaven with me, Fran Robinson. Each week, one lucky punter gets to test 3 bikes that we feel suits their lifestyle, needs and most importantly, their pocket. And then hopefully at the end of the show, they'll walk away with a bargain. This week we have 3 giant traileys that allow you to commute to work, have fun with your mates at the weekend and offer the opportunity to get mucky off-road. We also have the lovely Rob Gibson on hand to give some tips on bike maintenance. So on with the show, let's meet this week's test rider. Pete Cain is an engineer from Northampton. He's been riding bikes for over 20 years and is looking to replace his Honda Pan-European with something a bit leaner. Being 6'3", Pete needs a bike with tall seat height and an upright feel that will give him comfort on a long journey. Our selection will hopefully fit the bill. So Pete's looking for an all-rounder for about £5,000. With this budget, we've come up with a nice selection of bikes between 1 and 3 years old. With Pete being so tall, we've gone for big traileys today. All 3 should make good commuters for the weekly work run and also satisfy the devil in Pete when he wants to hoon around at weekends. So let's see what the first bike is. First up, it's Triumph's Tiger 955i. Tigers have been great bikes for Triumphs long before this current model. It's been around since 1992 and, as the name suggests, shares the engine from Triumph's flagship sports model, the Daytona 955i. The engine's been retuned for extra mid-range performance. Kicking out 109 brake horsepower, this bike feels exceptionally lively, with its distinctive 3-piston heart beating away beneath you. For some reason, this trailer-type bike has never been able to dislodge us Brits from our sports bikes, whilst our European cousins are buying them by the bucket load, which is sad as many of you out there are missing some real motorcycling gems. So Pete, bike number 1, the Triumph Tiger. What do you think to the looks of this?
First impressions are very positive. It looks quite purposeful, and I'm looking for a bike on which I can commute, tour, have a laugh at the weekends. This certainly looks like it might fit the bill. Absolutely. Although I'm a little unsure of the styling. It's rather bulbous and the bright green paint leaves me some doubts on that front, but we shouldn't judge a bike on styling alone, of course.
I was going to say, because we've thrown this kind of traily style at you. Are you into that? Do you like that?
Yeah. I've had a BMW R100 GS some years ago, which is one of the best bikes I've ever owned. And I've always considered the big trailers to be the best all-rounders there are. Right.
Great. Well, we need to know what you think to the ride of it. So if you want to get your helmet on and let us know what you think.
I look forward to it.
Pete is testing a 2002 model Tiger priced at $5,495. This bike is no off-roader, of course, weighing over 200 kilos, but as a tourer it can be fitted with hard luggage and an optional centre stand. Handling has always been a Triumph strong point, and this bike doesn't disappoint on that score. The Tiger is most at home on the black stuff, its suspension and engine gelling perfectly for you to embarrass many a sports bike rider around your favourite twisty bits. So Pete, the Triumph Tiger, what did you think to it?
In the main, I thought it was a very good bike. I've really enjoyed it. The engine was silky smooth, throttle response was wonderful, handling was very, very good. Front forks felt a little on the soft side. Right. For serious back lane scratching, but not too bad. Yeah. And minor criticism, but one which I feel worth making. I found the rear view mirror, it looks nice, this lovely teardrop shape, but absolutely impossible to set to a position which was actually any use as a mirror. Really? Yep. And the only other criticism, which is probably more due to my frame, so I found the handlebars to be a little too low in relation to the high seat and a little too close. So yeah, they look, I don't know, they look a bit narrow for you as well. I don't know, does it feel like that? A little, yeah. So for the riding we've been doing today, not too bad, but I'd be slightly concerned about comfort over sort of 500 mile a day tours. Yeah. But in the main, it was a very nice bike. Right. It's certainly not put itself out the running yet, let's say. Well, I just hope not. It's only bike number 1. So is it comfy? I mean, that's a nice big comfy seat, isn't it? The seat is absolutely superb. And the relationship between the seat and the foot pegs for my leg length is very good. Great. The pillion appears to be very good. I imagine the missus will be quite happy on the back of that. Yeah, super. Right, well, we need to give each bike a score on the scoreboards. So, what do you give the Triumph Tiger? So, Pete, what do you give it for style? 8. Quite a nice looking bike, but not my colour. And performance? 6. The engine performance was very strong, but handling let down by a soft front end, I felt. And what about practicality? 7. I'm certain I could live with it every day. And reliability? 8. I've had no bad reports about these machines, so we assume good things.
And finally, value for money.
7. Price is a little on the high side, but maybe with a bit of negotiation would be okay.
Right, Pete, well that was bike number 1, the Triumph Tiger, so in the main, you quite liked it.
Yeah.
Right, okay, well of course you don't have to decide just yet because we've got 2 more bikes to go. On to bike number 2. Next up is the Honda XR-V 750 Africa Twin. The Africa Twin is as hot as the continent it's named after. It combines superb engineering and good balance in an overall package, which is hard to beat. Originally built to pay homage to the heroes of the Paris-Dakar and never as a serious attempt at an off-roader, the Twin is much better as a soft, comfortable back lanes bike or as a practical tourer with a twist. This bike is not, however, an off-roader unless you have huge biceps. Keep this bike where it works best, commuting, touring and even scratching. Right, Pete, bike number 2 is the Honda Africa Twin. What do you think to the looks of this?
I love the looks of it. I like the looks of the Triumph, as you know.
Yep.
But this looks, how can I put it, Berlin by tea time. Capable.
Yeah.
Yep, you could certainly bowl up at Dover, get on your ferry and be anywhere you fancied in no time, I imagine.
Absolutely. Another all-rounder. I mean, to be honest, the Triumph was, but I think this is as well. I think you could have some serious fun, but it's comfy for those miles, isn't it?
I think it probably will be, and it's got a V-twin engine. I know it's only the 750cc, so it's smaller than the Triumph.
Yeah.
But I've always enjoyed the way big twins deliver their power. So
absolutely.
Again,
and it is a Honda, let's face it.
So build quality should never be an issue, should it?
Shouldn't really, and it should go well. Well, get your helmet on and let us know.
Okay, I will.
The Africa Twin Pete is riding is a 2001 model priced at £4,795. The handling capabilities will surprise many, including sports bike riders. Bend swinging couldn't be easier. The Africa Twin turns with the gentlest persuasion. Only the dual-purpose tyres prevent some serious cornering speeds. Compliance over even the roughest road is a feature of the long travel available from both fork and shock. Damped superbly, there is little hint of wallow or harshness. And the result is excellent comfort for the rider. This another hallmark of big trail bikes, and the Honda is no exception. Well, Pete, can I just say, as you rode in on this, it looks fantastic. What a great looking bike. What do you think of it?
Fran, I love it. It was really enjoyable to ride. It may only be 750cc, but the way the V-twin engine delivers that power, it's a little bit lumpy low down, smooths out, and it gives a good even spread of torque. It's a really nice package.
Yeah.
Riding position, I thought, feels like it would be real all-day comfortable, with the exception of the seat, which is a little bit narrow and square.
Especially in comparison to that Triumph, it does look narrow.
Exactly. However, a couple of £100 for a Corbin seat will sort that out once and for all, so it's not a problem.
Yeah. These look all right. These look a bit better.
The mirrors are absolutely perfect. I was able to set them up, both mirrors, in a way that I can see everything going on behind me. It was lovely. The only other criticism I could make is the front brake felt a little bit wooden.
Right.
As compared, most modern bikes, 2 fingers on the front brake and don't bother with the back at all, as you know.
Yeah.
But this, maybe it's been in production a few years, so it's perhaps not fair to compare it with ultimately modern bikes, but I found it was all 4 fingers on the front brake and a little bit of back as well. So, yeah. Not suggesting the brakes are bad, they're just not as powerful as those on the Triumph.
Yeah, yeah.
But it doesn't give me any problems at all. I was very, very impressed with this bike, Fran.
Sounds very good. I like it, I must say. I've not actually ridden this one, but I like what I see, certainly. And you're giving it a very good write-up.
Yep.
So our next bike's going to have to be something pretty special to compete then, really, basically.
Isn't it just?
Isn't it just? Well, of course, we need to go to the scoreboards and see what you give the Honda Africa Twin. Now, Pete, what do you give it for style?
8. It looks rugged and built exactly to do what it's there for.
And performance?
7. Strong engine, good handling, slightly marred by braking, but nothing too bad.
And what about practicality?
9. That bike will do anything I intend to do on it perfectly well.
And reliability?
9. There's a Honda badge, enough said.
And value for money?
6. This one's a little overpriced and not quite to the spec I want, but a bit of negotiation should see that one sorted.
Right, Pete, that's bike number 2, the Honda Africa Twin. A bike that I think it's fair to say you loved. And
I did.
It certainly looks the business, doesn't it? But of course you don't have to decide just yet because we do have bike number 3 to come. But before we do that, it's time to go to Dr. Rod, who's going to give us some essential tips on used bike maintenance.
Now, any bike needs a bit of regular TLC to keep it in good condition. So what regular weekly checks can you make on your bike to make sure that it's safe and sound? Well, the first thing I'm going to use is one of these. This is a tyre pressure gauge, and I'm going to use it to check the tyres on this bike. Now, not only am I looking at the tyre condition and the tread depth, but the pressure is quite important. And in order to check the pressure, first of all, I'm taking this dust cap off there, and then the pressure gauge clips onto the valve, and if I press that, there, it tells me exactly how much pressure's in that tyre. And of course, the tyre pressures do need to be checked with the tyres cold, so don't do this immediately after a ride. Do it first thing in the morning before you go out. Next, let's have a look at the engine oil. Well, on this particular bike, we've got a sight glass down on the side of the engine here. And if I support the bike like this and pull it over towards me so it's upright, you should see the engine oil level there in the window. And that needs to be just halfway up the window, and that's quite correct on this bike. If the oil level was low, then I could top that up by taking this filler cap out and just pouring some fresh engine oil into there. While I'm on this part of the bike, there's also a reservoir here for the rear brake fluid. And as you can see, that fluid level there is fine, but if it did need any adding, I could take the cap off the top there and just top it up with a little extra brake fluid. Finally, at this end of the bike, the rear tyre also needs checking for tread condition and for the sidewall condition, and also, of course, for pressure. Now, on this side of the bike, the obvious thing I'm going to be looking at is the rear chain. The rear chain will wear as the bike is ridden and will need occasional adjustment. This one is fine, but if that was too slack, I could adjust it by slackening off the rear wheel spindle here and moving the wheel backwards. To keep the chain in good condition, it's also a good idea to give it an occasional spray with a good quality chain lube like this one. Finally, if you're not too sure what type of brake fluid or oil to use, or even what your tyre pressure should be, the owner's handbook is an excellent addition to your toolkit. Back to you, Fran.
And we'll be hearing more from Rod later in the programme. So far this week, Pete Cain from Northampton has tested the Triumph Tiger, which he liked, and the Honda Africa Twin, which he loved. After the break, we'll be revealing bike number 3, which is a little bit different. So we'll see how it shapes up against bikes 1 and 2. See you in a mo. Welcome back to Used Bike Heaven. So far this week, Pete Cain from Northampton, who currently owns a Honda Pan-European, is looking for something to commute to work on during the week and hoon around on at weekends. Now, he's a tall bloke, so we've thrown some big trailies at him. He's already tested the Triumph Tiger and the Honda Africa Twin and is about to go out on his 3rd and final test. Time to reveal bike number 3. Last up, it's the CCM 644 Dual Sport. It first appeared as the 604 DS powered by a Rotax engine back in 1998 and became a big seller for the company. April 2002 saw CCM change from Rotax powered to Suzuki, using the 644cc single from their Freewind model. This engine may not be the liveliest, but allowed CCM models to feel a lot smoother and suffer less reliability issues. The great thing about this bike is that whether you buy the Trail or Supermoto version, you can buy a spare set of wheels to allow you to have the best of both worlds. CCM have cleverly added an innovative wheel attachment system that allows you to change from one set to the other in less than 20 minutes. Now Pete, I don't want you to think I've gone mad giving you the CCM, because I know it doesn't look like a commuter bike, and it probably isn't. But we've gone for more of the hooning around at the weekend element, because these are fun. So what do you think to the looks of it?
I think it looks fantastic, and just judging from the looks, it will certainly fulfil my having a laugh at the weekends aspirations, but I'm not quite sure how it will fit in with my touring and commuting requirements. But I'm prepared to give anything a go, so shall we see how we get on?
Let's.
Okay.
Okay. Pete is testing the 2003 model of the 644, priced at £4,495. The Dual Sport is exactly what it says. In Supermoto guise, it can tackle mud and tarmac with gusto, and in Trail guise, you could ride over the Alps if you fancied. Performance is superb, and the bike is engineered with a wealth of off-road competition behind it. You can set compression and rebound on both front and rear suspension, and you can adjust ride height to suit your riding style. So Pete, the CCM 644, what did we think?
It was nice, punchy, single-cylinder engine. Probably would have been even more fun on roundabouts, etc., if it had the smaller wheels and Supermoto tyres rather than the off-road variants. But for a Sunday afternoon, something like this, either a CCM or a KTM or something of that ilk would be hard to beat.
So talk me through it then. I mean, was it quite comfortable? Because the seat is very narrow.
No, it wasn't quite comfortable. I perhaps misled you. I just said it wasn't as uncomfortable as it looked. Because I could ride it for half an hour or so without, complete
Complaining
agony.
too much. Yeah.
And it's very tall, which stops at traffic lights and stuff, allows me fully stretched legs, which is quite refreshing. And it's just fun. The handling was very good. The knobbly tyres left a little bit of doubt in places, but I know the smaller wheels and the Supermoto tyres are available. That would transform it completely.
Yeah.
It needed more gearbox work than the others, of course, being a big single.
Yeah.
Very lumpy low down the rev range.
They're a basic kind of raw bike, aren't they, basically?
Yeah.
Well, on that note then, let's go to the scoreboards and see what you give the CCM 644.
Okay.
Now, Pete, what do you give it for style?
8. It looks fantastic, big and yellow and silly.
And performance?
6. Single cylinder engine gets a bit wheezy, but that's made up for to some extent by the handling and the braking, which are really rather good.
And I don't ask this, but practicality?
2. And that's rather generous. It doesn't ooze practicality, does it?
Reliability?
7. It's got a proven Suzuki engine. It shouldn't be too bad.
And value for money?
5. From my point of view, spending that much money on a motorcycle to use once a week can't be described as value at all.
Well, Pete, you've ridden all 3 bikes on offer today. Overall on the scoreboard, the Africa Twin wins with 39 points, but you don't have to make your final decision just yet, as we're going to go to Dr. Rod, who's going to give us a recap on each bike and the pros and cons of owning the bikes on offer today.
The Triumph Tiger has been around now for over 10 years. This latest version offers a revised frame and running gear first offered in 1998, coupled with the superb 955 injection engine lifted from Triumph's sports bike range. Now, this version of the unique Triumph triple engine offers 105 brake horsepower, which will pull the bike along at speeds of up to 145 miles an hour. It's not quite pan-European territory, but more than enough power for most mere mortals. It also does 40 miles to the gallon, and with insurance in Group 13, it's quite reasonable to run. Now, if the Triumph looks like a tall bike, the Africa Twin is monstrously huge. Honda's design engineers were obviously briefed to produce the daddy of all trail bikes, and the Africa Twin takes no prisoners. It's been around in various guises now since 1989, so it's obviously very well proven. The only known problems with the big V-twin engine is the occasional cam chain tension and niggle, which is easy to put right as long as you pay attention to any suspicious sounding rattles. It's also in a softer state of tune than the Triumph and only produces 60 brake horsepower, but this can actually make the bike lots of fun to ride as it's very flexible and forgiving. It also offers 45 miles to the gallon, and with insurance in Group 12 it can be surprisingly cheap to run. If Pete really wants to change from his pan-European, he'll find it in this CCM. Unlike either the Triumph or the Africa Twin, the CCM has a single-cylinder engine and produces a respectable 53 brake horsepower from its solitary piston. Now, while CCM is in fact a British company, the engine in this bike has been provided by Suzuki and is rather similar in fact to the one you'd find in their Freewind road bike. That means it's well designed, well put together, and it won't baffle the guys at the local dealership when you pop in for an oil change. And the Dual Sport really does do what it says on the tin. This is the only one of tonight's bikes that has serious off-road abilities. At 137 kilograms, it's also the lightest, but that tiny 13-litre fuel tank will make frequent fuel stops a frustrating necessity. The good news is that the Insurance Group 10 makes it by far and away the cheapest of tonight's bikes to run.
Right, Pete, you've ridden all 3 bikes, you've had long enough to make your mind up. Tell me which one it's going to be.
Fran, I'd like to see what deal we can get on the Africa Twin.
That's a pretty good all-rounder for you, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah.
Because you want a commuter, a tourer and something to play around at the weekend?
Exactly. 3 bikes in one, and this could be it.
Well, let's go and see what deal we can get then.
Okay, let's do that.
All right. Today's deal is being done at Fylde Superbike in Blackpool. Pete will be trying to haggle with Peter Taylor over the Africa Twin, which is currently on sale for £4,795. Right, Peter, this is Pete.
Pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
This is Peter. We've tested 3 bikes, obviously, and we're quite interested in the Africa Twin. So, over to you, Pete.
Well, as Fran says, I love the bike, but
Good.
not especially keen on the asking price, so there must be
Well,
room for a little
maybe we can do
negotiation.
something with that, yes. It's not a problem. It's up at £47.95. They come with 3 months warranty. without a part exchange, we could do something about 4,500.
Still a little on the high side, as whilst it's the bike I want,
Yes.
it's not quite the spec I want. I'd be putting hard luggage on it, heated grips for all year round use obviously, and a better seat, because that one's a little bit square and hard, something like a Corbin seat. So either we'd need to bring the price down a little bit further, or if you could throw in maybe the panniers and the heated grips, then I'd be prepared to pay closer to your asking price.
This is your lucky day. Because the bike does come with panniers. So it's fitted with panniers. They're not on at the moment because of your trial runs, but it does come fitted with panniers.
Does that
So
make a
what
difference
about-
if it actually
does that
comes
help?
with panniers?
That does make a difference, yeah. Had that been stated on the card, then
Yes.
I would have been prepared to go a little bit closer. 4,795 is still a bit high.
We're down to 4,500.
Down to 4,500. Your 4,500 offer still stands.
Yes.
So in that case,
Yes.
let's go 4,350, and then that gives me a little bit of extra leeway to change the seat and pay for my heated grips. We're kind of going halves on them, aren't we?
I did say it was your day, but
But don't get giddy.
this is my job, yeah. If we say about
But he'd like to keep
44,
it.
we'll do £4,400 and a full service on it.
In that case, I think I can probably accept that, yeah. I think that's a
That's
reasonable price.
fantastic.
Okay,
Thank
we've got
you.
a deal,
Yes,
I think.
a good deal, yes. We'll look after you.
Well, I didn't have to do anything there. That's fantastic.
I'm sorry about that, Fran. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Peter. Cheers, Pete. So, Pete, you surprised me. I didn't think you were going to get that deal then.
I didn't think I was going to get it either for a while, but Peter was more flexible than I thought.
He can be very accommodating when he wants to be.
Can't he just?
Yes. So, you're happy then? You're happy with the price? Happy with the bike?
Yes, I've got the bike I fancy at a price I'm happy to pay, so all round happy, yes.
Wonderful. I'm glad we were able to assist.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Pete. Well, that's it for this week. Another satisfied customer. I can go home happy. We'll see you next week for some more used bike heaven. Once Pete had gone away to think about it, he decided not to go with the Africa Twin. Instead, he's put a deposit down on the new BMW R1200 GS, which he should be receiving in September.